All right, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Raquel, and hi, dear participants, and hi, dear President,
Hey, how are
Dr.
you?
Vatanarchan. Good, how are you?
Raquel, long time no see.
Hi, how are you?
Good, and you?
Good. Nice to see you. Hope you're
I'm back
well.
to DC.
Are you? Nice. Okay, great.
Yes,
Good.
and we should get together sometime.
Please, let's do that.
I need
Early next
to,
week.
next week or maybe tomorrow or Friday.
Okay. No, Friday I'm
We have a
actually
new
out of
topic
town.
that we would like to discuss with you, with our marketing team, George.
Okay. I think we're live, right?
Yes, we are
Friday
live
is
now.
good.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Beautiful.
So let me introduce
I'll
myself.
grab my earphones. Okay, you can start.
All right. All right. So my name is Deniz, and I'm the outreach coordinator of Bay Atlantic University. I've been working here for 5 years now, and Bay Atlantic University is a Washington, D.C. based nonprofit private university, and we have undergrad and grad programs. We have a great MBA program. It was our first program to start with, and now it's going even more strong. And so we partnered with Can I Live for this ROBI program. I want to talk about it because I'm so excited about it. And we have been targeting the underserved communities in Washington, D.C. and under-resourced entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs. So we have been partnering with ROBI, and Raquel is the president of Can I Live? So she's here to provide more information and also celebrate the Black History Month. And we are celebrating the Black entrepreneurs and Black businesses, but not only celebrating, we are also supporting them with our training programs like ROBI and BAU scholarships to provide low cost or free higher education for the Black community in DC. I will provide more information on that later on, but right now I'm so excited about this ROBI program and DC government's support about that and our partnership with Can I Live. So I want to introduce you Raquel William Jones. She's the president of Can I Live, and she herself also has been has struggled with the welfare system in here, and she kind of made herself from scratch. She educated herself, and she became an entrepreneur from zero, from nothing, and then she's now the president of a amazing nonprofit, Can I Live, and providing this training for low-income entrepreneurs and making them the self-employed individuals and business owners. So please, Raquel, take it from here, and please provide us more information about yourself, Can I Live, and ROBI.
Thank you so much, Denise, and thank you, BAU. Thank you, Sinam. Glad to see you back in DC. I just, before I even start talking about myself, I want to just kind of really thank you guys for being a really significant part. I feel like you came to America, to DC, and I came to DC for this partnership. To know that you guys were here for 4 years, 5 years, and the culture, the politics just in this city by itself, it's very territorial. It's very, I'm your friend, and if I'm your friend, you can't be their friend because I'm not their friend. And so I'm just glad to be in business and in partnership with people who see the bigger picture. And that at the end of the day, if it's not about serving, you know, the least of those in our communities, if it's not about helping each other, loving each other, and that love is an action word, showing each other, you know, how much we love each other by how we serve each other. You guys allow us to serve, you know, our population on a whole new level. We were doing well before, but now we're able to do so much more. And because you guys, you know, just are there as this capacity builder. And so we're grateful for that. And thank you guys, Sinam, Elect, and Deniz, and your whole team at BAU. You guys rock. And so for those that might be listening today or will listen later on, for most of you guys who have maybe heard my story and maybe have never even heard my name is Raquel Williams Jones. I go by RW Jones, and I was a welfare mom. And so not just a welfare mom, you know, I had several kids, 1 kid, 2 kid, 3 kid, 4. And every time I went back to social services, I was pregnant again. And so, you know, not really understanding what I was doing, just trying to live life, making decisions, one on top of another, on top of another. Despite the bad decisions that most people would say, yeah, that's a bad decision, having children out of wedlock or having children that you can't even afford, those would be bad decisions. But ultimately, I was blessed with 4 beautiful sons that were absolutely ordained to be here. So while having children in itself is a blessing, it's a beautiful thing, you know, having children in, you know, in an American system that you're not apt to provide for yourself can create a whole nother string of challenges. And so, you know, while I was this welfare mom, guess what? Yeah, I might have been broke. Yeah, I might have been a little, you know, precarious and careless. And I might have been a little, you know, self-doubting, and I might have lacked confidence. I might have felt inadequate. I might have felt feelings of hopelessness and defeat. While all of those things were going on, I still had purpose. I still had significant meaning, and I was on the hunt to figure out what that was. And I think that that's important as we kind of go through, you know, who can I live is, what it is, and how and what we do for other families. Can I Live was birthed in the middle of all of that chaos. You know, it was birthed in the middle of me almost being homeless. And most people would say, how can you run a business and you can't even take care of yourself? Well, you can't. But I never stopped the vision. The only thing I can say is vision, vision, vision. The vision that I kept seeing before me, that one day Can I Live would be this thing for communities, for families, for individuals. I didn't know what it would be specifically, but I knew that it would be great. And so this very, how do you say, broad and yet vague and not clearly defined vision still kept me motivated through all the hell and chaos. And so, yeah, Can I Live was birthed. We've been here since 2003. We've gone through a lot of different structures through, you know, over the last, since 2000, from 2003 to 2012. So 8 years of trying to figure out who you are. And one of the things I want to make sure, you know, is celebrating and honoring Black history. It's important that I honor who came before me, all of the entrepreneurs, all of the hard workers, all of the people, despite of the racism, despite the discrimination, despite the water hoses, the dogs biting, the just inability to vote, the inability to work, the inability to be housed in, you know, healthy places, despite the hate, despite the ability to keep you down. You know, Black people, we come from a resilient, how do you say, just a very peculiar place of unknown strength that comes from out of nowhere, where you think you just don't have enough anymore. It's still there. A resounding love, you know, now, you know, yeah, we've been, you know, just having to survive 400 plus years in all of this chaos and turmoil and deterrence, we have overcome. And so I'm honored to represent and even be asked to speak on anything about Black history. There's been many times when I would say I didn't even want to be Black. Why am I Black? Why am I this? What is this? And why is this a problem for everybody? It was the hardest thing for me to ever understand. And as that was things as a child, as a teenager, me growing up. But now that I have better understanding, better knowledge, better wisdom, I'm able to, teach others and answer the whys as they go through and struggle. Unfortunately, I didn't have anyone to answer my why. I'm the first entrepreneur in my family. And despite of the many welfare programs, I didn't even know what entrepreneur was. I didn't even know that there was a world where you can work for yourself. All I knew is I had these crazy ideas that seemed like they could be feasible, but I never saw anybody else do them. And I didn't know how to do them myself. So it would be tons and tons of notebooks, like my notebooks here. I got like probably 50, 60 notebooks that can chronologically know, every part of my life for the last 20 years, literally. I know that, ultimately it was these ideas that kind of just fueled me towards the pathway of entrepreneurship. And so as a welfare mom, you're in these welfare programs. The one thing that they always tell you to do is get a job. Get a job, get a job, get a job. And working kept me on the system. Working a 9-to-5 job kept me dependent on the system. And I could not figure out for the life of me how that could even be. I was making money. However, I had so many kids, the money that I was making would not have touched my ability to grow myself from the dependency. So the system, for most of you guys that don't know what happens when you're on any real type of Medicaid, TANF, public housing, Section 8, food stamps, if you're on these systems and need these benefits, as soon as you go to work, you're going to be reduced significantly. And so none of the systems are uniformed. So welfare,
so welfare system is actually keeping people off from being entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah. And I don't think a lot of people, I don't know if they intentionally go out and say, you cannot work for yourself. I don't think that they say that. You will never hear them admit to that. But when they promote policies and practices that say you must work, or we want you to we'll pay for you to go to school for this, we won't pay for this, and this, then you are, complicit to not supporting. Because I remember when I was, I don't know how many years ago it was, maybe 18 years. I went into the social services and I was going to school. I was to get my bachelor's in economics, politics, and law. And they actually told me I had to withdraw from school. And they said you would have to come out of school and you would have to sign up for a CNA certificate. So they didn't want me to get the degree. They wanted me to go get a certified nurse's assistant certification. And I looked at them and I said, so you're telling me that this degree is not going to help me move forward, but the CNA license will? And she said as clear as day, she was like, we're not going to pay for you to become no attorney.
Interesting.
And I said, wow. I was like, well, first of all, I wasn't even going to school to become an attorney. I thought I was going to run for office one day or something. I didn't say, I'm going to school to be the next president or something. I didn't say that. But surely I wasn't going to school to, take care of somebody's, I wasn't going to school to be a caretaker either. That just was not, I like puke at the thought of saliva.
You should be able to choose what you're going to study. I mean, they can't tell you what
You
to
should
study,
be
right?
able to, but they don't. Yeah, no, you can't choose. Or if you do, they did this, what they do. They say, yeah, you could choose, but you could choose out of this bucket. And in that bucket, you might have phlebotomy, you might have CNA, you might have tourism, you might have hospitality. So even Department of Labor numbers and trades, they say, what do they say? High demand jobs. No, these are high demand, low income jobs.
Yeah.
That minorities, where they're funneling minorities in. And so the fact that through the Workforce Innovation and Opportunities Act, entrepreneurship is a viable, feasible, allowable activity to be funded by Department of Labor, we owe dollars. Why in DC is not seen as like a an eligible or in demand anything? I don't know. I don't know what politics are at play with that. But entrepreneurship, first of all, if you think about people like myself, this is where I guess we could just explore the conversation, Deniz, because you guys don't really know about the systems per se here or most other places, but there's only but a handful. In DC, you might have more than a handful. You have, you know, several tens of thousands of low income people living in this city. They are touching the same systems, from DHS to the mental health, to the food stamps, to the public housing, to the Medicaid. They touch the same system, and yet not one of those systems, no one has come up with one application, one unified way to do business with this one population. And then each one, now not only does each client, DC resident or any resident, not only do they touch each system, but then the systems provide funding to service providers to help with supportive services. And then now, after they finish touching all these systems, now they got to go run around in the other systems, the supportive services, you know, programs even like ours, who get funding from the government to provide a service. So they're touching so many layers of service, of intake processes, documentation, administration, where you have to bring in documentation. They're touching so much administration before they can even get to a real level of service. Then they wonder why people are so frustrated and are not motivated to engage in programs, when it's the bureaucracy is like choking people, literally.
But with the support of DC Government Employment Services, with the grant they provided to BAU and Can I Live, we are trying to break this vicious circle, right? We are trying to help people and, you know, to tap into this entrepreneurship training for 15 weeks and the support followed by that. So people can receive some, you know, form of support to become entrepreneurs and to, you know, kickstart their business and get their license. So how do we do that? How are we doing this with ROBI program, Raquel?
So thank you for that question. That's good, because one of the things I've learned recently is DC does have a lot of small business programs. You have LEDC, you have SBDC, you have DSLBD, I mean, acronyms out the wazoo. And all of these people will train you. Information is available, readily available. It's just, at this point, it's too much information. A regular entrepreneur really wouldn't know where to begin to just get their foot in the door. It can be overwhelming. So here at ROBI, while we're one of many, we do something that no other entity in the United States does. And we actually pay for your business license. And in places like DC, which is one of the most expensive places to do business, where a basic business license will run you $700. Yeah. That's not including your domain, your logo, your website. That's not including any business cards or the basic things you need to set up a professional front, particularly on the internet. And so not only do we pay for your business license, we also pay for your logo, your website, your business card. We hook you up with a mentor. a coach, really a business coach. But the Resident Owned Business Incubator, you know, when many people would ask, would I teach business? I wasn't interested in teaching business because I struggled for so long. I learned so many things along the way. I wasn't interested to teaching a Harvard grad. And plus I felt like they're paying $100,000 for that education. They don't need to know what I know. But when I learned that I could teach it for people like myself, I was all in. And so at ROBI, the Resident Owned Business Incubator, we basically do, I just remember saying, what were the things that I needed when I was, you know, growing into my entrepreneurial, you know, journey? What did I need? And so we supply entrepreneurs with $1 and a dream with a team. If you got 15 cents, we're going to teach you how to make $1. And so we have a specialization in coaching, teaching, training, educating, developing, equipping low income, under-resourced entrepreneurs from low wealth communities that see this struggle, see, you know, the nuances, the challenges every day, have so much brilliance inside of, I know that this works and this would work and they need to do this differently. We support those entrepreneurs for 1 year. Of the year, the first 15 weeks is really pretty much, the first 15 weeks are like intense training, is a boot camp where they kind of get the understanding of the business plan. So all of the training we provide is surrounding the business plan.
It's fully online right now due to the COVID.
Yeah, and we'll probably always keep it online because you just can do more. Put it like this, when our residents face transportation issues, it's just, you just reduce a barrier. Now, technology is another barrier, but the fact that they really come to class on their phones. So many of them use their phones to do our class. And I don't know how they do it. I promise you. I mean, their phones, these students have become masters with doing things with their phones. And I'm thinking to myself, you cannot run a business off of a cell phone. And they are determined to tell me otherwise. I said, well, I'm going to keep my part of that deal because I know you really cannot go but so far on a cell phone. Outside of us partnering with, you know, we're hoping to partner with like Microsoft or Apple, Google, to provide our entrepreneurs with the necessary technology, Wi-Fi. That's really all they need because we're providing everything else. And so, you know, after their 15 weeks, they pitch for cash. They have to graduate with their minimum viable product. So you can't just come and say, oh, you know, I want to open up a restaurant. No, you can't just open up a restaurant. What you will have to do is to tell us how and what is your minimum viable product. So you're going to have to start out with one piece of cake. Maybe it's a pound cake. It's going to be the best pound cake in the world. How do you then manufacture that pound cake, put it into the hands of restaurants who will then take on the risk, take on the liability and all of the monies that are associated with running restaurants. So when we, you know, sometimes they kind of want to stay in that sky and that big vision, and we just kind of keep chopping it down to make dollars today. So everybody has to be ready for a commerce transaction by the time they graduate. And typically around 15 weeks, 15 to 16, maybe max 20 weeks, it will take them to pitch the idea. So they also then pitch for about $6,000 that's shared with a first, second, and third place. And that money is then used for them to seed their startups. We then support the rest of the entrepreneurs and of course the winners for a year. We just built a relationship with the SBDC here in the district where they're going to be our partner that we refer residents to handle all the CBE certifications, the 8A certifications, the MWBE certifications. We have another partnership we've just established and are establishing with Davis Consult Solutions. They're going to be our partner in helping to build capacity for contracting. And so for those residents that have a capability and business model that would support contracting, subcontracting with government agencies and or, you know, contractors and subcontractors, they would work with our partners to you know, level up and be able to offer, you know, just show up and perform.
So in a nutshell, can you tell what we are providing to the students of the certificate program at the end of 15 weeks? Because there are lots of solid stuff that we are providing. And if you can, you know, give us some information about that.
So at the end of 15 weeks, you graduate with a business license. You graduate with a website. Well, a website that you would have put together through like a template like GoDaddy or Shopify. You graduate with a logo. You graduate with a business card. You graduate with your life plan, your business plan. And then you also have to present that business plan, that business idea during the pitch competition. And you know, vie for the cash towards the end of the 15-week program. So you pretty much, you know, after, I mean, 15 weeks is really not a long time to do all of that. That's a lot going on in 15 weeks. And trust me, they feel it, you know, but nonetheless, they stick with it. It is, I would say, it's a highly competitive program. It is hard to get into simply because of the limited funding we have. We only have the one source from Department of Employment Services. If we had other sources of, you know, grantors, we could provide, of course, the service to more. And we're working on that. We're working on that.
So there are two ways of getting this training. One, through Department of Employment Services of DC government. And it is tuition free for the ages, for the specific age group, right? And it's
free
an
for
earn and learn
anybody
program.
18 and over. Yeah, if you're 18 and over and you qualify through DOES, which means you just have to be considered low income for the district. More than likely, if you supply them with the right information, you will be enrolled. You just have to meet the eligibility criteria. And
it's an earn and learn program at the same time, right, for them?
So yeah, they have a couple of programs. Earn and Learn is 18 to 24, and they do earn a stipend for participating. Not all of our cohorts earn stipends, but the Department of Employment Services does have a out of school, out of work population that they do fund for the entrepreneurial business license program. Mm-hmm. And they do earn a small stipend for the time they're in our program.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so but they can also get this training if they're not eligible for the DOES grant. They can also pay for a fee, and then they can attend like that as well, right?
We did have private pay, but we didn't receive. There was no demand for the private pay. Plus, what we found is those that did want the private pay, most of them were like government employees. Some would have been conflicts, so we just wanted to stay away from it. We did decide to put it on our platform simply because we were asked considerably a lot of time. But when it came down to like, okay, here it is, we realized that we would have to create a different curriculum. Mm-hmm. Meaning you can teach the same curriculum, but you would have to probably bring in different instructors. Mm-hmm. So we have a specialization in this demographic, you know, limited education. Mm-hmm. You know, just because you just have a GED doesn't mean you're not brilliant, you know. So, but we know how to engage them, interact with them in a way that they understand. We speak the language, the jargon. We can give examples that they understand, that it's relevant for them. And sometimes with the the more higher education you have, you then are part of a different type of learning environment. It's different. Mm-hmm. It's different methods for adult learners, but there's even more different creative methods you have to provide for what they call divergent audiences.
Mm-hmm. So here's a question: what are the eligibility? The eligibility what do you say? Like how can
criteria?
for DOES, criteria, please. It's
So most
kind of
the
complicated.
time,
That's why we need
criteria,
to like list them.
Yeah. The specifics in terms of income, I don't know the income guidelines. Like I've never seen income per se here in the district. However, I have seen that you have to be a resident of DC. You have to be at least 18 years of age or older. You have to have a GED minimum. And you then have to have access to your personal documents, Social Security card, birth certificate, lease to prove that you're a resident. You have to have those same documents for everybody in your household. And then you have to show proof of income. And it's through the proof of income, they use various worksheets to then decide if you're eligible.
Okay, so here I'm gonna leave the link of the eligibility criteria to the chat section.
Okay.
And also the application link. So are nonprofit businesses eligible for this training?
Nonprofit businesses?
Yes.
Yes, so if you have a nonprofit that you want to open, yes. So if you're an entrepreneur, under-resourced entrepreneur with a nonprofit idea, yes, we will help you, get that started. It's just that we just don't pay for the charitable license solicitation, which is like an additional $400. We don't pay for the 501c3 application, which could be an additional $350 to $800. So we try to find a for-profit business model that can accompany a nonprofit, because at the end of the day, regardless if it's a nonprofit or not, you're going to have some kind of business model, and you're going to have to structure that business model in a way where, you don't make money. Just because it's nonprofit doesn't mean that you don't make a profit. It's just that that profit does not go to the shareholders like it would in a private corporation. That profit is reused and invested back into the organization to provide the charitable services that you provide. So you still got to make money.
Good. There's a question here. So I have always been social justice conscious oriented and not really interested in owning a business. I know the importance of being independent and self-sufficient. Entrepreneurship seems to have become a fad world. How can someone of my interest make differences and be self-sufficient?
So let me read that again, because she said that she's always been a social entrepreneur in interest, but never really wanted to run a nonprofit. But she still wants to make herself self-sufficient by utilizing. So I would then ask, are there other interests that you may have, like tech? Because maybe it's building an app and selling that app, and or having people on the app. So it depends how you want to, what the objective of your social justice cause or mission is. And everything is technology. So if you're not interested in running the operations of a business per se, I would definitely then also say that you could also study. One of the things that DC does have, there is a center for nonprofits here. I just don't know how integral they or have been in businesses like mine. So I would say study nonprofits, maybe survey nonprofits, see what some of their pain points are. If you're having a social justice lens, then that means maybe, I know like NCRC, for example. NCRC is the National Community for Reinvestment Coalition, the National Community Reinvestment Coalition. They're actually not too far from, they're on 15th Street. So they're right by the BAU campus, but they have a whole building of social justice nonprofits in their whole building. Now, I don't know what it looks like post-COVID, but even doing an interview with them, finding out what needs do they have. And if you see trends, see if you can provide a solution for those, for, you know, bring about a solution for that.
He's asking, would that mean starting a nonprofit?
Does that mean starting a nonprofit?
Yeah.
Would that mean starting a nonprofit? No, you don't have to. I don't think you have to. Okay, I can see the chats. Conscious over, really interested in another place. How can someone of my interest make a difference and be self-sufficient? What that means, would that mean starting a nonprofit? I don't think, listen, I'm not gonna say, how do I say this? I don't want to deter anybody, but starting a nonprofit is not easy. They tell you, and maybe listen, I'm gonna just tell you, if you look like me, it's not gonna be easy. If you look like Deniz, it might be a little easier. It's gonna be hard either way. If you're providing a good service, if you have a niche, I would say niche. Being able to do something that nobody else does. And to date, I would honestly say that we struggled for so long because so many people were telling us to do this. Whenever new grant money came out, they was like, go do that, go apply for that. Oh, there's gang prevention. Oh, there's this, there's mentoring, there's this. And I just was not the one fond of running from program to program, trying to chase money. Even though a lot of people did, I really waited and I was patient with the process until I identified our niche, because I knew that my experience was not mine alone. And there was a people that I was going to help. And I found that people when I was appointed to like a housing authority board. I never knew being just serving in that capacity would lead me to shape shifting our whole entire organization and being the only ones in the whole entire nation to do what we do. There's nobody else in the world, in the United States of America. There is no national public housing tenants association with a focus to reduce dependency on government subsidies. So it's not like there's other people or Caucasian people coming into our community and saying, you know, you should be self-sufficient and, you know, you can live a better life. No, this is us ourselves saying, I think we got what we need to do. We know what works in our community and what doesn't. And we're just going to create the solutions that we want to see because nobody knows them better than us. And so highly educated, degreed, skilled, creative individuals just got together and said, we can solve our own problems. Stop waiting for someone to solve it for us. It's not going to happen. So I just would not, I'm just not the advocate for nonprofits because you got reporting, you got tax was the IRS reporting. Then you have government funding. That is not, most people say, oh, just go and open up a nonprofit and find grants. Well, today in COVID land, that might be easy because there's a lot of money out there and people are like giving it away, almost. Not quite, but almost. But I promise you, it is the most mundane, rigid, bureaucratic process I've ever seen. It's just unbelievable. So if you do not have to open a nonprofit, don't. Long story short, if I can help anybody the headache, don't do it if you don't have to do it.
Okay, great. If we can receive questions from the chat box and from also Facebook Live. If you would like to ask questions, dear attendees, please feel free to ask through Facebook comments or from the chat box here or Q&A box here.
Oh, Terrence said, I look like you all day. That's right. Okay, Terrence, you look like me, so okay. That's exactly what I'm talking about, solving your own problem. How do I connect with you? Thanks for the advice about nonprofits. So you can give my You could put my email in the chat, Deniz.
I will.
Hey, Terrence. He said, yeah, I look like you. And that's probably not, that was not a politically correct answer, but you're probably not going to get a political correct answer from me any old way. So, but let me ask you, Deniz, have you guys, as you guys are now nonprofits, but you're also university, so getting grants is way more. Even it's still a lot of work. It's still hard work, but is it easier? Probably easier.
Since we are a nonprofit, it should be easier, you think, but it's so bureaucratic. If you try, especially the federal grants, it's so bureaucratic and it's near impossible. You know, they require lots of things, and it's a process. I'm telling you, but it's, you know, it's doable. And we are happy with the DC government grants so far, thanks to our partnership with you guys. It definitely makes it easier. It is doable, definitely, and also we feel great about supporting the DC community where we are based here, and through this grant we are able to support our community here. Mm-hmm. By providing this training at a,
and
you know,
also
no cost.
The business space. You guys provide BAU Works, which is the 4,500 plus 2 floors, 9,000 square feet of affordable office space next to the White House, which, you know, we're a soon to be client, a renter there, where the incubator will be housed, and that's a game changer, because I could never afford office space. So if you live, you know, so many of us live in places that just are not conducive for business. Let's make that plain. And whether you have to see, you know, and I'm gonna be just as real. Some of our students are homeless. Some of them live in deplorable conditions. Some are not even safe to walk outside their homes in their neighborhoods. Some have to, you know, endure rodents and rats. That is not the condition to learn, let alone create, think. It's just not. And so the fact that they now have an option to have affordable office space through, you know, our partnership with BAU Works and of course the BAU campus, that's a game changer.
So it's one of the, we can say that it's one of the outcomes of the training program, ROBI Incubator. If you start your business and if you need a hot desk or even a virtual desk for your business, BAU Works is here to help at a very low cost. It's very affordable, and the office spaces are also very affordable, and it's centrally located, just a few, you know, steps from the White House. It is right in the heart of Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. So also the one of the perks is coming with BAU Works is it is related with Bay Atlantic University. It's within the same building, and you will be able to get your interns. And these interns will be BAU students from the related area. It can be an MBA student, it can be an IT student, depending on your needs, or big data student, accounting students, depending on the business's needs, you will be able to get an intern. So the students, BAU students, will be able to gain an experience, a real life business experience, and you will be able to tap into this amazing workforce here. And also another perk of being related with a university at your office within the same building is our faculty. Our faculty is also, they are scholar practitioners, so they have amazing experience in the business area that maybe you are related with. And you can, you know, ask for their advice, and you can tap into that brain team, I can say. So this is what makes BAU Works different than the other cooperative working spaces. And let me leave the link for that here too, BAU Works link.
Because in DC, you can't even, first of all, why we love the relationship is you can't get a business license without having a DC address. And you know, sometimes our residents move a lot. And so every time you move, if your address changes, you have to get a new license. Because most of the home occupancy permits that they give you for your address, that's good for that location. I've had some businesses have to get a whole nother $700 license because they have moved. And so it's not like just change your license. Not change the license, just change. They don't just change an address. It's the same fee. So you might as well just get a whole new business. It's just ridiculous.
It is.
Absolutely ridiculous.
And also there is another support that the Atlantic University is providing for the Black community in DC is our James Wormley Scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to build on your education and get higher education degree, we provide James Wormley Scholarship for 5 students every year. And let me share my screen to show you that.
I think that's super dope.
So, okay. So each year, 5 high achieving students from DC's public and public charter schools will receive full tuition to attend Bay Atlantic University. And I will leave the application link here as well. So the requirements are not that competitive, and it's easy to attend, I think. It's 2.5 GPA, proof of financial need, previous community service, preferred but not required, and identities, of course, should be associated with the Black community, and personal statement. And personal statement is can be, how has the Black Lives Matter movement affected your future goals for life, work, or education, and the community? So this is all very doable for, you know, the high school students to gather these documents to apply. And so the applications are open for full semester. And I think this is a great opportunity for underserved and under-resourced students to get higher education.
How old they have to be? How old?
This is for DC public and public charter schools. So, you know, senior students.
Okay.
Will be able to.
Yeah, we have to promote that. Like, who don't want to get free school?
Yeah.
I got so much student loan debt, is ridiculous.
Yeah, the cost of the higher education in the United States is ridiculous. Like, it's not even funny. So we are trying to provide low cost or no cost for specific communities, higher education, but high quality higher education degrees. So why James Wormley? This is also an interesting story. James Wormley was a prominent African-American in 19th century in Washington, D.C., and he had a Wormley Hotel right next door here in our buildings next door. He was a neighbor here. It's Wormley Hotel right here.
Okay.
And he was instrumental in getting funding for the first elementary school for Black students in the city. So we dedicated our scholarship to James Wormley's name.
Yeah, I have to do some research on him. James Wormley.
Yeah, he was an entrepreneur back in the 19th century in Washington, D.C. Yes, so are there any questions?
Wow. And is this the same as the BAU This is not the same as debt-free DC. Debt-free DC and this is two totally different things.
They are different, yes. We have debt-free DC. It's also for the DC community. Actually, it's for DMV area in general. It is also here, scholarship opportunities. Debt-free DC is also very advantageous. Scholarship is 70% scholarship for DMV residents. And it's...
Yeah, no, I think that's just super dope. I mean, DC got more resources than I have ever seen anywhere in my whole life.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for all you guys out there, and I don't know if education, that's another thing. I know that's how I was able to build myself off welfare. It was through education and entrepreneurship. Those two things helped me because it was through school. Any monies I received from student, now that's probably why I know that's why I have so much student loan debts, because I would max out on my budget. I would get my refunds, and that monies could not be counted as income for social services. So when I would have to call my caseworker until I got a refund of like $7,000, they would say, oh, okay, well, that's not income. Now I use that money to pay my rent off. I used it to buy a car. I used it to, take care of my family. We lived off of that stuff. Tuition, scholarship, grants, student loans, all of that financial aid package. I lived off it for like, 8 years, all the way up to my PhD, which they said I reached my aggregate amount, and so I had to come out of school or go into the private market. And so I thought, okay, well, maybe I just don't need the PhD per se, but, entrepreneurship also helped me, because when you are a welfare mom or you have any kind of benefit, as soon as you get that money, you got 10 days to report it. And so as soon as you tell them that this is the money, they start calculating all of the changes in your benefits. With entrepreneurship, they have to wait till you file your taxes, or they have to go based off of a projection for the year if you haven't filed taxes. Once you file taxes, if you've made $20,000, $40,000, but all your expenses for the year equals $50,000, you lost money, you keep your benefits. They don't touch them. And they allow me to, I had a loss, of course, for the first 5 years of my business. And then they were like, you need to find another business because you don't never make no money. But I didn't know how to. I was trying, I was learning. So, education and entrepreneurship are the two, prongs to our self-sufficiency strategy.
Exactly.
And that's why we love BAU, because you are like our education partner. And now students don't have to go in debt like I did, $300,000 of student loan debt. You don't have to now.
Exactly. With debt-free DC scholarship, it's 70% amount is like you basically graduate debt-free, and you can start your own business, because that's the biggest struggle that the fresh graduates are dealing with.
And I'm surprised a lot of students are not taking advantage of that. I don't know. We need to really work on getting that out. I'm just surprised. Why would you not take advantage of it? You guys have the same major degrees, the business, the cyber, the political science, your technology. So I'm trying to understand what's happening.
Yeah, undergrad programs are accounting, business administration, economics and finance, international relations, and data science, IT. And we also have 3 grad programs, MBA, which also has a focus on entrepreneurship, and cybersecurity and big data analytics. So these are all covered with the debt-free DC scholarship. If you are living in DMV area, you are eligible for it. So I think that's pretty
we'll work harder to find ways to really push that. I do know that unfortunately, when you're serving low-income families, unfortunately, everything is like they live in crisis mode a lot. And I say they, like I'm not that, but I'm removed from that cycle. And so, being in crisis all the time, you're always looking for the immediate. And sometimes a 2-year degree or 4-year degree is too far out You're thinking right now, economic thirst, right now. I'm thirsty. Help me. And then once you get your thirst quenched, about 2 months after, you're going to quit the job because you done lost all your benefits, or you don't want to do it, or you're like, you know what, I got more money if I did nothing. So then you go into this cycle. There's a cycle where you're doing the same thing, work for a few months, stop. But you never increase your earning potential that you can. That's what degrees are for. It's to increase your ability to earn more. I went from, what was I? Minimum wage back then. I started my first job, what, $4.25 an hour. That's how I'm dating myself for, $4.25 an hour. Yeah. And you know, I would never be able to charge what I charge right now in the marketplace had it not been for my education. Now, you know, that's just, I don't believe I would have. If I have a voice like Beyonce, maybe I could have. But I don't. You don't want me to cry.
Better talents, you know.
Things.
Entrepreneurship.
I mean, you have to cultivate them. You have to cultivate those talents.
Of course.
And you got to be in for the long game. So, I mean, thank everybody for coming and then just paying attention and listening and caring enough to listen. And yeah, share. Yeah. Sharing is caring, they say.
Exactly. So about sharing, we are going to share this video on our YouTube page, BAU's YouTube page, and also it's going to be on the Facebook because we are doing the live stream right now. So I will be sending out the event recording to everyone after this. And if we don't have any questions, we can say adjourned, I guess. Adjourn, like meeting adjourned. Meeting adjourned. Yes. Thank you so much, Raquel. You're welcome, and I look forward to doing good work with you guys. Yeah, thank you for attending, and thanks, and have a great day. Bye. Bye-bye.